All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How is everybody? At lunch? Have coffee? Oh my God, my job is going to be difficult if you didn't have coffee after that lunch. All right. Well, my name is Seva, and my last name is Stav. Seva Stav. I'm coming from Turkey. And this is my actually fourth time. I missed the first one. Um, and so first year my husband came and we were supposed to come together, but our son was too young to be alone at that time. But after the second one, we had been coming together. He couldn't come this year. He's busy with his work. He had another engagement. So here I am. And I love coming to Pakistan. I feel like this is my second home now. And I have some clothes from Pakistan that I wear. I do it from Pakistan. Recently, I switched jobs from one university to the next. And my new colleagues were curious when I said I'm going to Pakistan. So they asked me, what is in Pakistan? What is the most beautiful? So I said, I love the food. And they said, oh, what does the food looks like? And I said, I think they can hear me. I think you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I said, well, let me show you. And I made them a basmati rice, big one. And they loved it. They loved it. So each year when I come, I bring a lot of spices, a lot of things with me, and then all year round. what they need on the industry. So it's all the circle that counts. And morning session, one of the talk.
It's required for the online session. That's why.
So we need to broadcast outside too. So in order to do, our well teaching and prepare our students for the field, we need to get them involved in our teaching and curriculum. So this morning, one of my colleagues actually talked about the stakeholders meeting, and one of the stakeholders are the students. Okay. Anybody was in that session from here? No? Oh, you were there. Okay. So stakeholders, and one of the important stakeholders are the students, but mainly they have to be involved. They can't just be there and ask their opinions, but not follow up what they have said. In order to get them involved, we need to actually focus on our strategy. So the university's mission should include all the stakeholders. When we are creating the university's mission, which is, I'm assuming that you all have strategic plan, right? How many of you don't have strategic plan for their universities? Nobody has it, or everybody have it? You all have it. And how much of that student involvement included when they were creating the strategic plan? And how many faculty was involved in the strategic plan? And how many industry was involved in the strategic plan? Less.
Yes.
Not enough. Not enough. Let's not say zero, which is not good, but let's say that it wasn't enough, right? It wasn't enough. And unfortunately, it's very common in the countries like ours, because we're not aware of the strength of those who can actually give us the feedback. We are the top to bottom culture, not ground to top culture. So it's a cultural change that we have to do. So we need to raise our voices and say that, we want to be part of the strategic plan. And where the strategic plan starts is the mission, right? Mission is what? What does mission tells us? Who we are, what we are right now, okay? It tells us who we are, what we are doing right now. Okay. And the vision is what we want to be. So you start with your mission statement, which tells everybody, all the stakeholders, that this is who we are and this is what we are focusing. And then once you know who you are and what you are doing, then you write your vision statement, which is what we want to be in the future, built upon what mission is, because we're not going to recreate the world again, right? So mission statement is very important, because what it says in our mission statement is what we need to implement in our schools, in our departments, and in our classrooms. It's all tied together, because our mission is the one that tells what the students are going to be when they come out with their diploma. So when we look at this mission statement, I picked one from a university, okay? What does it say? To educate various individuals who possesses critical thinking and problem-solving skills and professional competent, have a developed sense of environmental and social responsibility, and embrace national and universal values to contribute to science and support the social economic development of the region and the country through sustainable projects. So when we look at this, what does it tell us? What is this university tells us with their mission statement? What do you think that they say? What are they focusing on? Students by critical thinking. They say we give critical thinking to our students. And then they give problem-solving skills. What else?
They are professional, competent people. And then there is a social and responsible, environmental, social and responsibility. And they value the universal and national values, which means like culturally they are more aware. And then contribute to science and socioeconomic development of the region. Okay. And also the local community. So they are focused on more the local community and the regional community than overseas. Some of the mission, it says international values, for example, or international economic and social development, which means that they are actually focused on internationalization of their campuses. This particular school is more interested in regional and local. Okay. And there is no right and wrong with their mission statements. What we need to do now is, if this is the higher education institution's mission, then what do you think the schools or the faculty mission should say?
For this mission statement.
It has to support this mission, because institutions have one way of looking at what they want to do, and then the schools or the faculties cannot go to the other area. So the faculty shouldn't say like, we want to be a more international, more research oriented, right? Because these are the values that the institution overall wants to have. So once the strategic plan focused on this mission, then the faculty and or the schools, individually, departments, needs to follow this with their own mission statements. So let's go to the second one, which should give us faculty. I picked economics and business department for this one, okay? So what does their economics and administrative science program or the faculty says? Which under this program in Turkey, there is economics, business, logistics, international trades, econometrics, the public management, all kinds of, fields. So all these should combine to the overall mission statement. So what do they say? The mission of our faculty is to become a distinguished research and educational institution recognized both nationally and internationally. In the line with this goal, a primary aim of our faculty is to conduct theoretical and applied research that is accepted by the international scientific community, to prove an academic environment conducive to educating future academics, to establish university-industry collaborations that contribute to regional and national development, to educate individuals who possesses the quality required by the public and private sectors in the global competitive environment, who can easily access, produce, and share information, and who have strategic decision-making abilities. So when we go back to the university's mission statement, what does it say? So when we look at this, how about if you kind of like write down some of the key things that you are seeing here to the papers you are taking notes, and then we'll compare that with the faculty. So if you can take a little notes of specific things that highlights here, not the whole thing, but what is standing out, we'll compare them with the faculty mission statement. All good? Okay. You didn't need a minute? All right, so let's go back to the faculty, okay? Let's go to the faculty now. Now, take a look at what you have written so far and compare this here and identify the ones that they are here from the university mission, and then identify the ones in here that are missing in the university mission.
Last.
Mhm. I mean, you can see like they constantly say international in here, but the university mission never said internationalization. They were more focused on the local, right? Or regional area.
To provide academic.
Say one more time.
They mentioned about international values in the previous mission.
They did?
National and universal values, that was.
Values. Mhm. A little different because here they're talking about internationalization. When you are doing it, this is a business school, so don't forget. So in the business, you need values for the international, but internationalization is not part of that mission, right? So that's the difference. Another one,
They are talking about practical and applied research, that component.
and that one. Critical thinking, but for the students they were talking about. This one is talking about doing a research, faculty. So the alignment you can see is a little different. And then there is other things. And what is missing here to there?
University to industry collaborations.
Right. They were not. And again, critical thinking was missing on the university's mission statement, right? So you can see that there is no alignment. You know, I will have a comparative table, but you will see.
That is the regional and national development.
Say,
The word is regional and national development is there in the mission.
sorry,
The regional and national development is there in the mission of the institute.
institute, yes, and it's
Just the ingredient that leads toward that.
correct.
Cannot be said.
Cannot.
It is there.
It is there, right? Yes. And but global competitive environment is what they're focusing here. I mean, if you can focus on it, their focus is more internationalization, global competitive market. You know, they're going after that one. But when we go to this one, it's more focused on the local perspective and the students, right? And the faculty is focused on the faculty, not the students, if we really read that. So let's look at the program level now. And this is the business administration program. So what does business administration program says? It says that to achieve a contemporary level of education in the field of business by producing scientific knowledge, conducting educational activities and research projects to educate individuals who are professionally competent at regional, national, and international levels who adhere to ethical principles and rules and who respect societal values, thus contributing to the development of qualified human capital, science, a business world, and society. So when you look at the university mission and the faculty mission, this is one layer down, which is the department mission, right? So where do you see the alignment? Is this more close to the faculty or the university? Some says faculty, some says university. Let's discuss this. So let's start with the university. Where do you see the alignment with the university? What are the things with the university?
Contemporary level application.
Contemporary,
Professionally competent.
professionally competent, right? Regional development, values, and environmental social impact, right? So this is part of, ethical principles, qualified human capital, even the critical thinking I've seen in here
Professionally competent.
Competent. So what about the faculty mission statement? Is that also aligned with it? You were saying that it's more aligned with the faculty. Where do you?
Talk about research and here they are saying something related to scientific,
Mhm.
that's aligned.
That's the only way that's the only part actually it's aligned, right?
Okay.
That's the only part that's aligned. So in between, there is something is missing. If we are looking at the university to faculty to the department, it should align to each other, right? And we're seeing some gaps between all of them. What does it tell us? Why do you think there are gaps between those three layers?
There is lack of stakeholders involvement in designing the mission statement at the program level, university level.
Mhm. Does it say anything about communication? When they are creating their mission statements, they did not look at each other, right? Or the top mission statement, when they were creating the university's mission statement, they didn't involve the faculty or the students, internal stakeholders. If they have included the internal stakeholders, they would see that the faculty and the departments have different values and they have different missions to do things. If they have seen that and gathered that information, they would have the university's mission statement aligned with what the people who are working there would say. So that's one thing that says. And the other thing is when they are creating the department or the faculty level mission statements, they didn't really pay attention to the university's mission statement. And if they had, then they would actually interpret it and put it here, which means the faculties are working in silos. They are not working toward the greater good, okay? They're working in silos. So when we look at the university's mission statements or the vision statements, if you see these differences, you can actually see the culture in those universities, okay? If that's the case, what do you think happening in the classroom? Right? If that's the culture, what's happening in the classroom? This is my topic. I'm going to teach it the way I want to. Right? So we'll come to that. Let's look at some of this comparison. So when we look at it, like critical thinking and problem solving actually was in the university mission, faculty mission, department, we did have a clue of it, but it wasn't clear, right? We could interpret that it is there, but it wasn't clear. Professional competency was in all of them. We could see that clearly. Environmental social responsibility was at the university. And maybe in the department mission, we can get a hint of it, but it wasn't clear. Okay, it wasn't clear. Ethical values and respect for society, university and department, but we were missing. You all said that it was missing in the faculty level, and so on and so on. So when you look at this, okay, industry, university cooperation, which for stakeholders' perspective, very important, because that's where we have to gather the information. If we don't know what the industry wants, how are we going to build the students to fill those positions, right? And that's only in the faculty level. But faculty level is so broadcast, it's so broad like this. In the department level, it should. If I am a logistic field, I need to work with the logistics industry in order to know what they want. I can't work with health, or anything else, because that's where I will gather my information. And they had to have that one. So what's the next level? Once we have done the mission statements, we have complete the mission statements in all layers. What's the next one? Now we have to come to the university learning outcomes. Okay. When we think about learning outcomes, universities should have a generic generic overall guidance for their departments and their faculty. So they have to have some sort of learning outcomes. So this particular university possesses advanced theoretical and practical knowledge and to evaluate businesses from multiple perspectives. Was this in mission statement? Take a look at your notes. At the university's mission statement, was it there?
Wasn't.
It wasn't, right?
You will not
So,
mention about academia.
right,
That was just.
right. So if it is not the mission, how can you make it as an outcome? So you have to make it all align. So to think in an interdisciplinary manner, work efficiently in teams, generate innovative ideas, and implement them. Was it there?
There was nothing related to it.
It was in critical thinking and all the other words. So when you look at the mission statement, let's go back to it. There is the critical thinking, problem solving, you see? So this is kind of aligned with it. Okay? It says that it's interdisciplinary, working efficiently, because when you are problem solving, you have to work in the teams, you know? So in a way, it is actually layered down and specifically pointed to be individuals who protect the environment, value stakeholder opinions, and act with ethical responsibility. This was also at the university level, but it wasn't in the faculty level. But at least the department is, you know, gonna match, the university is matching its own, you know, mission statement with their actions now. So to embrace lifelong learning and develop critical thinking, now you can see that they are actually kind of repeating themselves in here. So when we are coming with the outcomes, if we don't go systematically how you are aligning all this, and if you are doing it in like different ways and not thinking what is upfront first, you can always repeat yourself like this because it's just the opinions that you are jagging, but you are not actually thinking systematically. To be able to use scientific data, find when facing business related problems and project activities and blah, blah. So if you look at all this, you know, the social justice, social responsibility, again, they tie that to the project, which is here. So when you are actually looking at the mission statement and how you can align your outcomes for the university specifically, what you have done before is look, you know, write the mission statement and then break it down. And for each part, how am I gonna align that with my outcomes for my programs? Because this is important. Once you created this, all the faculty and faculty don't have outcomes, but departments should actually align also to this one, because that's what we are trying to create in the market. If everybody is creating the same thing, then we are saturating the market, right? So every student has the same outcome and they're going after the same jobs. But maybe there are some unique things out there that our students might be able to get into, but if we are not preparing them, nobody will get in there. And then we will have these silo industries where they will keep telling us, I can't find anybody to hire because they're not, you know, fulfilling the skill sets that I'm looking for, right? So in order to gather that information, we need to involve our stakeholders to all this area. And what is the outcomes of the program now? What does it say? To possess advanced theoretical and practical knowledge and to be able to evaluate a business from different perspectives, to think interdisciplinary, work efficiently in teams, to be environmentally conscious, value stakeholders' opinions, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. And you can see the first one and the second one. What do you see the difference? Do you see any difference?
Generate innovative ideas.
Do you see the difference between the faculty and the department learning outcomes? Read the first one and the second one. Read the first one and the second one.
What if it's?
Look at the last one, for example. What does it mean? As a faculty, you combine, all the fields, your learning outcomes exactly the same as your department level. And when you look at the other departments under that faculty, they were the same. So what does it tell us? It should be different, right? It should be more aligned with the university's learning outcomes, but it should be aligned with the your work area, and it should be specific to your field. You need to make it more specific for them. So, nope, they're not aligned, right? They are identical, which means that, again, carelessly, it's done. That's what it shows us. So what is next we need to do is, after we have done the outcomes of the learning outcomes, then we need to do the program-specific criteria, which are specific to the program. So here, the business administrator, this is more in the departmental level. So we will create now the program-specific criteria, which is to equip students with the ability to use management theories in business decision-making, to develop a competence to analyze, interpret, and manage organizational behavior, to enable students to apply marketing principles. So when you look at these, each one of these actually, the criterias, it should give you a set of courses that will support these. So when you look at the curriculum, you should have courses that will actually align and support these, which these are supported by the outcomes, right? So if I want to equip students with the ability to use management theories and business decision-making, anybody's from business field here? Management business. So what kind of courses would you put under there?
Marketing, management.
Management theory.
Yes,
Yeah.
theories and entrepreneurship course.
More like a theory course, right? More like a theory course than theoretical, ability to actually have them have the ground. So when you look at to develop a competency to analyze, interpret, and management organizational behavior, then we put some analytical courses under there, like maybe statistics, maybe doing some research, project courses, to gather the data and analyze it and how to interpret it, that kind of things. So that's how we are going to apply. And the second one is marketing principles, positioning, the strategies, brand awareness. So this school is focused on, marketing more. So you can put more marketing courses there, mandatory and elective courses. So once you have this, then you can have those courses. Once you have the courses, then, we'll go how we evaluate those. That's the next level. But if you do the courses and you try to write this down, what do you think will happen? You created the curriculum, and then you want to create your criteria for program-specific criteria. Do you think you can come up with this? If you have the program, then it's not a guided program. You create it according to who can teach what. That's what's happening, right? I don't have a financial professor, someone teaches in finance. So let's not put that field in there. But if the industry wants, what are we going to do? So it's like catch-22. We have to have the guidelines, which is tied to the mission. What is the mission of the university? What is the faculty and department wants to be? And once what they want to be, then they have to create their specific criterias and then create the program and the coursework. I know it's very difficult because usually what we have is handful of instructors and it's hard to get instructors to cover the other areas, you know, either financially or maybe it's difficult to find in that field. But if we don't do that, we cannot create the students that's needed in the industry. So it's going to come and catch us at the end because then our students are not employable. When they're not employable, they're not going to select the school. If there's less students, less instructors. So it goes like all around. So at one time, we need to really make a judgment how we want to operate. So after that, we need to have the educational objectives. What is our objectives? What is our goal? Where are we going? Okay. And then once we write those, which means actually these are actually going to give us now for each class that we created in the previous area. So here we are going to write what courses are going to support this. The next level is going to support, this will support each individual course we wrote on the other one. So each course should touch at least one or two of these. And in the syllabus, we need to show this. So that way we are ensuring that the system is working. Okay, the system is working. So enable to manage business processes, take responsibilities, work in teams to foster entrepreneurship ideas, blah, blah, blah. So when we put that into like the teamwork we had on the previous, you know, this one, the criteria for our program specific, which one identifies with this one, the teamwork and whatnot?
Versus
Mm-hmm. So we have exactly. So we have different, you know, courses there. So this one actually gonna tell those courses should include these in order to fulfill what needs to be done. And then the goals. At the end, we need to come up with our goals. So what are our goals? Once we align all of those, this is what we want to reach. This is what we want our students to be. Okay. Our students will possess fundamental knowledge in business management, which our criteria was for the theoretical courses, right? So this supports that one. That's our goal. Our students will be able to work teams and share knowledge with team members, which he identified in the 6th, you know, level, and so forth. So when we go, this school was established in 2007, and they created their strategic plan. 5 years later, they didn't have strategic plan. 5 years later, which is what? What year? And since then, they have done like 2-3 strategic plans. Okay, every 5 years, they recreate the strategic plan. Every 5 years, you go back to your strategic plan and work on it from the ground up, you know, with the stakeholder involvements, faculty, students, and then you don't have to change the entire thing, but you tweak on it and develop more. So every 5 years, when we are developing, we got to look at it. And this is their almost 5th time that they're doing and still not doing it right. Okay, still not doing it right because they're not aligned to each other. When you compare them, which we will do another example that I will give you another one. When you compare, you will see how they are doing it, if they have learned. They are similar schools to this one. Okay, so when you are working on your own, you will see that they are different than normally it should be. Okay. So let's look at this one. So focus in the scope of this, all of these program, the university and the department level, the focus was program specific criteria, educational objectives and program goals. When we look at it, the primary focus was visionary and broader outcome focused and skill based and technical competence. So they were all covering this one. Content based, when we look at it, from the program specific to educational objectives to program goals, you can see the alignment, management theory and organizational behavior. But then when we get to the educational objectives, application of business and knowledge in multiple sectors. Are they matching? Not really, right? Not really. But that's how they're supposed to be. Producing students with analytical and innovative perspectives. So the program goals doesn't even cover some of the other areas, right? So when you look at the program specific to educational objectives, we should be going from top to bottom, right? So we should have the specifics first and then objectives and then the goals. They should all align to each other, explaining more and more in details, okay? This is what we want to be. This is how we are seeing ourselves. This is how we are gonna reach it. And this is what we're gonna come out at the end. Do you see any alignment? Do you see any alignment between those? Maybe here and there, right? Do you see any alignments between those? That's the same institution.
Entrepreneurial skills, teamwork, and entrepreneurship, legal and ethical knowledge.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, educational objectives and program-specific criteria in the alignment to entrepreneurial skills and entrepreneurship.
Right. So entrepreneurships maybe here, yeah, and here.
Producing students with analytical and innovative perspectives. Innovation is an important point.
In entrepreneurship. But it doesn't say, like, if that's so program specific, and if it is what our our objective is, it should say here that, you know, we want to graduate our students with entrepreneurial skills, right? If you are teaching all these and not have them to be an entrepreneurs, why are you doing it? Correct? So that's the thing that we need to focus on. And that's what exactly happening right now in our classrooms, in our programs. We have all these, you know, classes. We teach them great topics, but at the end, we're not taking our students to the field with outcome. We're teaching them, but they don't know at the end how they are going to use it, if they are needed. Do we need entrepreneurs? Maybe this culture doesn't need it. Maybe this region cannot handle it. Maybe this is a very big on industry where they need more skilled employees, not entrepreneurs. If it is rural area, maybe they need more entrepreneurs because then they can create the businesses. If without knowing the environment, we cannot produce those students. So in order to produce those students, we need to align them. And whatever we are saying, at the end, we need to come up with it. It needs to match. Orientation, skills, values versus vision. Skills-oriented, value-oriented, and vision-oriented. So if our program is skills-oriented, or value-oriented, or vision-oriented, which one was our mission statement was focused on?
Skills.
It was more skills, right? So values was not part of it. It did say ethical values and environment, but then when we look at all the criterias, the goals, we didn't see them there, right? We didn't see them there. And vision, we didn't see. We have seen some entrepreneurship and some innovation, but there was no support on the program, right? And then global citizenship was on and off. You know what? We didn't have anything about it. It was on and off. We had it buzzword, but we don't really put our heart to it. That's what the mission statement was saying. So, time frame perspective. So when we look at it, some of the things, the program specific criterias were more of a short term, you know, we need to get it done right now. And then midterm goals or educational objectives actually represented more of the post-graduation degrees. So not the undergrad. And then the long term is the program goals. When we look at the program goals, it should actually also include the continuous education of our graduates. So when you have that, because once they graduate, if they don't go to higher degree, the doctoral or master's degree, they still need skills to improve themselves. So our goals should include them. And we need to create some goals to support those. And one of the ways that, Europe using right now is micro-credentials. Have you heard that term? Micro-credentials? Anybody heard micro-credentials? What they do is, even in the curriculum, they use it, but how we can use it is in our institutions, which Turkey and Pakistan are the same, we can use it for after graduation. What we do is we survey the students and ask them, and then the stakeholders like the industry, and ask them, what are the specific skills of today that needs to be developed? Okay, 4 years, these students take some courses, but some of them actually came after they graduated. And they cannot take those skills anymore. They cannot rebuild them because they graduated. They cannot come back. So how are they going to rebuild those skills? Unless their employer is not giving them the chance, they can come back to the school and they can actually create these micro credentials where very specific topic that they will learn 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the topic. The good thing about that is that's tied to the digital badge. Have you heard digital badge? Do you have that term? Do you know what digital badge means? Perfect. So I think some people don't know. Do you want to explain what digital badge is?
So,
So your colleagues.
so digital badge is when we complete any accreditation or certification, we as a kind of a part of a credential, like we completed X or Y or Z kind of training. So it's a kind of certification that they approve that you receive this training from them, and they give you a certification, which is usually in a form of a digital badge. Am I right?
Digital format.
Yes.
The digital format. It's not like in the paper. It's in a digital
I
format.
think in a very similar way, all of us are going to get our certificates. It's an
It's in the
yes.
digital badges right now. Okay. Perfect. I have to check how they have done it, but for the micro credentials and for these digital badges, at the end, it has to show like what you have learned. So it's like a little syllabus. This is what the topics were covered, and this is how it was assessed, and this is how it was actually at the end. This is what the outcome was.
Learning on the
Not that. For the digital badge, it's electronically there. Okay, so it's all about the course. And what they do is once they gather that information, they can put in their social media accounts for their CVs. And then with the QR codes, usually they put them in the QR codes, and the employer goes and reads the QR code and sees that FC University, training center, this is what they have taught. This is how they are being assessed. This is how They come up with, this is the outcome of that learning. And it's there forever now. So by bringing the graduate students, graduated students to these programs does two things. They are involved in the university by relearning, and they will actually give you feedbacks, constant feedbacks, because they're working group now. So they are a great way of learning more. And then if you see the too many of these interests, then that means that you need to put that into your curriculum now, because that's where needed part is and we're missing. So you can develop your curriculum accordingly. But that takes time. That takes time. So let's take a look at the, can you open one form for me? So who's the IT? I have to find my folder. Can't see. So let's take a look at this. Thank you. So that school that we have been looking, their mission statement, and then their educational goals, their criterias and all that. This is their curriculum, okay? This is their curriculum. Take a look at some of the courses. Let's identify the ones that they will support critical thinking, okay? If you see one, write it down and we'll discuss that. Because they had been talking about critical thinking, right? Let's do another one, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, development, innovation, okay? And how many courses are supporting? Because they were the major ones. Okay, I'm gonna go down because we can put them all together. Do you see anything?
Marketing related courses.
Anything entrepreneurship or critical thinking?
Yes, we have real sciences.
Hmm?
Yeah, real sciences.
What sciences? Behavior economics.
Yes.
Behavior economics is which one? For entrepreneurship or for critical thinking?
Another course, named behavioral sciences.
Sorry, hold on.
It is modernization in Turkey.
This one? Oh, how come I can't go to the previous? Huh, okay, this way. Tell me the number. Did I miss it?
Social media and digital marketing related matters. And that's 60. Yeah, that's 65.
365?
65.
165. Okay.
Subject names. On row number 65. Serial number 12, that is behavior sciences.
Behavior sciences. And that gives, what does that mean? Like, what is behavior science teaches the students?
Just to, it's more related to psychology and social. That should be some sort of critical thinking.
It could include it maybe, but that doesn't give them much. That course is that first level course. So it's more theoretical. So it gives more like a psychological, theories, psychiatry and, that kind of things.
How about digital literacy?
Digital
Literacy.
literacy.
Social media and digital marketing. About 201.
Now,
production management,
Mhm. And these are all giving
automation.
critical thinking. Depends on now, that's a good question now, okay? Some of these we can directly apply, okay? But research methodology course, that will give critical thinking because at the end you will do it. It's a direct shot, okay? That's a direct shot. But if it is so important, it shouldn't be one course, right? We have to have some other courses to support, or many courses should include that component to their outlines, right? It should support that. But unfortunately, when you look at the syllabuses for those, many of these, when you look at many of these syllabuses, they don't align themselves with the learning outcomes. You know, they just give like a whole bunch of courses, and we'll look at some of the syllabuses together. So when we are creating these programs, it's not just what courses we're going to put to support our student learning outcomes, but also what is those courses are teaching, and what are the things that we are teaching in those courses that supports those learning outcomes for our university, which is tied to the mission statement. Okay, so the syllabuses is the bottom layer of the whole component. We have to know what is in our syllabuses and how we are going to support this. In order to do that, you know, in universities in Turkey, I don't know you do it here or not, but we do create matrix. And we put the learning outcomes and then what courses are supporting how. Yes. But in general, in the past, we used to market, I support this, right? Oh, yeah, I do support that too. But in reality, when I'm in the classroom or in my syllabus, I don't show it how. Now our syllabuses are combined with that, and then I'll show you how we are actually measuring what we are supporting. So let's take a look at this one now. Course matrix with the PLOs. So this is how it looked like before, okay? When we created the matrix, it just said it's supported, not supported. So 1 being supported, 0 is not supported, the PLOs. But does it show if that means that I support? How do I know that PLO 3 is being supported?
By
Hmm?
some scale of-
Course content, courses everything.
Student assessments don't show this.
we need to provide some scale.
Rubric. That's right. You have to have your courses rubric. You need to have, you know, the career planning course is supporting PLO 2 or 3. Okay. So in your actually course, you need to know exactly where it is being supported. In order to do that, we all, now you're going to kill me. Sorry. All right. Ooh, I have to ask permission for 1 minute. We didn't download that one. While I'm opening this, maybe you can just discuss how you are doing in your courses. Can you open that for me? Mhm. When is the tea break?
3.
3 o'clock? What time is it right now? Ah, well, it's perfect time right now. Apparently, it's a tea break while I am opening this up, because this is going to take us a little while to show how you can actually show the rubric and how you can tie all of these with your courses. So let's take a tea break, and then when we come back, we'll discuss that. And then I'll give you the handouts where you can do your own work and align with those. Thank you. Prime has point. Now, keynote. Let's go to this. No, this. First one. 2005. No. Work- Yeah, this one. They go. What's the first song? Is this there? Can you look at that file? Yep, that's the one. They didn't let us go out. That's it. This is not it. We should have like more sheets. Not this one. No, not this one. Turn this off. Yeah, turn that off. Go back to the folder. Here it is. This one, after that one. There you go. All right, let me have that. All right. Thank you. Can we make it a little small? So we will get this. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do it from now on. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, we're ready. Apparently it was there, but I didn't see it, sorry. So let's see that this is how we are gonna do our syllabus and how we are gonna put our, things in there. So when we look at this, each week, this is how the syllabus looks like. This is the instructor, this is the number of students, this is what we do, all this is written there. So the course learning outcome that here is explain science and scientific approach. How we are going to do is with these 4 topics. Okay, this is how we are going to do. So each week I prepare this for my course. And then I look at learning outcomes and which ones are supported with that. Okay. And then there is the 6 learning outcomes that's supported in this first week. And then how I do this with, this one is not translated. Let me see if it is in English here. Cognitive remembering, yes. Sorry, there is English and Turkish at the same time, but this is all cognitive remembering, okay? So forth. So what we do is here, teaching methods, what we do, maybe do some problem solving, computer aid instruction, and then some of the things that we do is use our smartphones and videos. And how are we going to do assessment? We do a little project, okay? So this is the first week, that's what we do. And then you write it down each week. What is my learning outcomes and how am I going to reach them? Second week, this is, again, it's an automatic translation. It didn't come. Does the same thing, okay? This is all in Turkish, but, it's all written. What are the subjects? What am I going to cover? Which learning outcomes it is going to reach, with this learning outcomes, and what is the methodology that I will be using. For example, there is this remembering here, bilişsel cognitive remembering, and there is also this time cognitive understanding, and then there is the cognitive implementation analysis. Okay, so these are the ones that I will be using for each one of them. And then I take a look at what methods I'm going to use to do these. Okay, and that's a mapping, mind mapping. Okay, sorry about that. Once I get out, apparently it translated back to Turkish. So, and then here I'm going to give them a homework to assess what they have learned. Okay. Anyway, that means homework. So I do this for all, we have 14 weeks of teaching. So I do this for all 14 weeks. How will I go to the end? So after I prepare all these 14 weeks of what I'm going to teach, how they're being supported, the learning outcomes, I come up with exam questions, okay? Because at the end, what I need to do is I need to create the questions to support everything I have taught, okay? In order to do that, I need to know the way of those questions. For example, what I had in the first week was 6 learning outcomes for that course, okay? This is for final exam, let's say, okay? So for the first week, or let's come up with the 7th week, it's the midterm and then the finals, right? So first week, I had 6 learning outcomes. Week 2, I had 11 learning outcomes. 9 for the week 3, so forth, so forth, so forth, okay? So when I go that there is 33 learning outcomes that I have to cover, which they are tied to what? Program level learning outcomes, right? How will I judge where I should put my way on for the assessment? This is what it shows, okay? Let's say that as a lecturer, I have week 6, I had only 1 learning outcomes. And I asked 3 questions. And one of the question was from week 6. What does it tell you? Is it fair for the students?
It's not valid.
We're not measuring enough to see what I have taught, because the majority of my lecture with the 11 outcomes, right, was in week 2, which means that if I have 11 outcomes, that means that I have given all the groundwork, all the important information for them to build for the later weeks. You can see that, it's less and less each time, because that means that we have done more practical things in order to supplement it. Without measuring week 2, I can't measure week 6 or 7. So this shows me how to do it. And same in here. You can see like the beginning of the first 3 weeks, I'm giving all the theoretical work. I'm bombarding them. And then I slowly, revisit, reevaluate, rework on those. So when I do this, I have to create my questions according to how much way of my teaching is, what is the valuable teaching method is. So we need to create this. And this is where we put together the everything, okay? So here is my course's learning outcomes. This is where the program level outcomes, and my picture is here, put this here. So the first semester, for example, these are the course names, right? And those are courses. Oops. So how do they support? Which courses support what? You can see that, the business administration and career planning development is supporting most of the PLOs. The other ones are just kind of like not filled in the information. They're not really supporting. Course level outcomes are here. And then program learning outcomes. And when I looked at this, my course specifically, which was business administration, right? So you can see that I have done my mapping now. This is how much my course supports individual program level outcomes. Is that clear?
What does that number indicate? LO1, PO1, where is it?
1 means very few that I support, that program level outcome, which one is that one? Second one? Ooh, I'm gonna go. Program level outcome, creative problem solving. Okay, that's a business administration course, and it's a first level course. So we don't do much of the creative problem solving. Analysis of management course, for example, has more of that way. So if we do some examples, it's only 1 level support. But the other one, learning outcome 5, we do cover that one a little bit more. Sustainable and technological applications. Okay, we talk about that. Management with the technology, for example. So that's how we support. So it's a 1 to 5 scale. 1 to 5 scale, 5 meaning that we fully cover this, 1 meaning that we touch it. If it is not there, then we don't touch it at all. We don't cover it. Okay. Not every course has to touch all the, yes. Or yeah, any of those outcomes, program level outcomes. If 1 course covers everything, that means you can actually graduate students with 1 course.
When you map those course level outcomes, PU one, PU2.
Those are course level outcomes. Those are the ones that I created for the career development course. So these are the ones that instructor creates for a specific course. So these are the course, career and life planning course. These are the outcomes from that course. Okay. The instructor creates these. How do they create this? How do they come up with this?
Yellow and the program.
Right. Somehow it needs to match a little bit, right? We don't have to cover everything. I don't need to do in lifetime planning, maybe create critical thinking. I don't know, maybe it is, but not 5 level, maybe 1 level. So you create those, but you plan your course according to the learning outcomes, mission statement, what kind of students we want to graduate. That. Is that okay? So if you don't do this for all your courses that you are teaching, create your rubric, and rubric is specifically for the questions. Okay, rubric is specifically for the questions. Let's say that, go back to here. If I'm doing a multiple question exam, multiple choice question exam, it's too much. Then it's easy, okay? Although there's a technique to do that kind of questioning too, you have to have a specific technique to create a multiple choice question exam. But it is easier to measure. But if it is classical exam, it's a lot harder. Then you really need the rubric because you want to create the question and what kind of key areas that students needs to touch. If you don't know it, and if it is essay, for example, that they need to write or analyze something to create writing, you can't just read it without knowing what are the key points are you looking for. Otherwise, you cannot measure your outcomes for those, for example, in the second week, that 11 points should be covered on that question because I had 11 outcomes in second week and I definitely have to have a question. That question needs to include all 11 of those outcomes. In order to figure out that week, what I have taught is really what the student learned and what the outcome is. Is that clear? In order to do that, what we need to do is we need to create a rubric where it will say, I'm looking for this, 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 11 of them. And when you are reading the paper, the essay, you need to check, oh, yep, he wrote it. Yes, she wrote it. Yes, she touched it. Okay. And that's the only way we can measure the students. It seems like it's a lot of work, right? It scares us, but actually it is a lot easier than the other way around. Because how many of us read like 10 papers without a rubric or just reading, and then all of a sudden, the first paper or the second paper you read it carefully, and then you start slicking down like, well, I can give a point to this one too, that one too. So which one is right? The first students are getting the worst grades, and then later on they're getting better grades. We've seen that all. This happens. It's automatic. It's the lack of our reading. But if you have the checklist where you are checking those words in those sentences, then it's a lot easier. The students won't come back to us because they know it's fair. At the end, what I do usually is after my exam, I post it online, what the questions and what the answers should be. I don't give them like, if it is an essay or, what's the word? If they are analyzing something and they're putting their own words to it, you can't write for every single person, but you can write down what are the points you are looking for. When they say, well, I wrote like 2 pages on how come I got only 10 points from this, then You can say, because you wrote nonsense, this is what you needed to write. This is what I have taught in week 2. And here is the week 2. This is what I have taught. This is what the learning outcomes should be. This is how learning outcomes are touched by this question. And these are the points that you are getting. Once you put that on a sheet, nobody can question. And you guarantee that that student actually get out of that course specifically what you needed them to do. And then you can tie it to the mission statement easily. At the beginning, once you start doing this, it gets confusing. It takes a little time. But once you create it, it's so easy. After that, you just do the fine tweaks and you don't get any headaches. You don't get any headaches after that. And actually, it's a lot easier for an instructor to follow what they're teaching, how they're measuring it. If somebody questions you, you have proof behind it. A lot of times somebody calls us and says, well, how come this student got X and the other one got Y? Well, if you don't have the proof like this, you can't say anything. But if you have this, you can put it down together and say, this student's paper is this. This is my evaluation. This is the other student. You tell me how they got the grades, right? It's always covering your own back. All right, so this is what we need to do. Now, is it 3:30 yet? Yes.
Can we implement it in steps? Some part of it we can implement in the first step, and then in the next year when we start the course again, we can implement some part in that.
You can, maybe what you could do is, you can't do like, I will do for the first 3 weeks or until the midterm. You can't do that. You have to have the whole course done it. But if you are teaching 3 courses, do one this term with this. Okay, do one course and give it a try, tweak it. Once you have done once, second, third one is so easy. It comes very automatically. We teach similar topics anyway, so we know what the outcomes and what we are teaching each course. It's just putting down in words is the part that kind of gets us. But once we do it once, the second, third, fourth course is a lot easier. I mean, it took me, I don't know, maybe 3 days to create my first course. And now it takes me maybe like 2 hours max, because it becomes automatic. You know what you are looking for. You know how to measure it. You know your methodology for that course. If you are recreating a new course, this is totally new. You have not taught it before. Give yourself a day, But first course will take you at least 3 days. At least for me, it took like 3 days. I had been going back and forth, wasn't clear. I had to ask for the educators, who are in charge of these kind of things. I used to beg my education faculty, how do you do this again? How do I measure this again? How can I put a number to this again? So once I've done that, I know it now, so it's automatic. It just becomes easier. Any questions? Okay, is it 3:30? Are they gonna let us go out?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, you have to ask questions now. Because I don't want to start the examples. That's how I was planning to do. But you are fast learners because you didn't ask enough questions while I was doing the presentation. But in the second half, I'll give an example of what I have done for another school, and you are going to do the steps and then create the syllabus for one course at least, according to what I am giving you.
You can ask questions. This one. If you also.
Do you have documentation for this for assigning numbers and for this schema, or what do you say it?
These numbers come automatically from each week.
Okay.
It's an automatic sheet.
Okay.
It collects from each week and then combines in here.
Okay. Do you have a manual with it? So if I am new to this system, I'll go to that manual and see if I have some confusions. Manual or some documentation. to back this?
I can share this with you.
Okay.
If you want, I will share this. Or put it in, like, I can share it.
No, I'm talking about this system, documentation of this system.
No,
Some
no.
kind of user manual.
Yep.
No, I don't. It's, you can probably look in different ways. How we did this is, as an education faculty or the QNC, we sit together and we created what needs to be done in order for us to evaluate.
I'm from the basically education department, so we do it through the proportionate, like the total is 100. So if there is a 4 SLOs or 4 learning outcome, what should be the proportion from the total? Then we assign the marks, or you can say the number of questions. So basically it is done from the proportion size.
So whomever is your education faculty, go ask them how, because every institution, every
It's our domain.
department should create their own way of doing this. Okay, this works for us because our accreditation body requires certain level of taxonomy. So we created this works for us. But if you go with the, department or a faculty, and because the engineering faculty might be different than business faculty, overall, the concept is the same, but how you implement it can be different. And that will be your autonomy on the institutional level. Otherwise, we will just have the same thing for everybody, which is not what we want as quality.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I teach here at FCCU in the Department of Mass Communication, and we are currently the university is currently in the process of international accreditation from the New England Commission of Higher Education. So we have done some of the work that you have already, because we did have mission statement, but then the university had to revise it because that was recommended by them. And then we got training on these things, and eventually we had to revise our program mission statement, and we made PLOs. Now, the problem that arises with us, like me being a, mass comm faculty, is this specific place, because when I'm creating my courses, every time I have to ensure that it is aligned with the PLO. That is one thing. But there are certain issues, like, for example, a certain course is being taught by 3 different faculty members, like the 3 sections. So I am going to have a different kind of an assessment, and the other a teacher has to have a different, like, I might be taking a written exam, but the other teacher is actually assigning a project, a capstone project. How do you address such kind of differences when it comes to different faculty? How do you ensure that it remains aligned?
If you don't, it doesn't matter. You can have 3 different ways of teaching the same thing, as long as the outcome is what it is, okay? How you assess is different. But in order to show it for the accreditation body, you have to have those sessions and instructor names separately. So, I mean, there is no, this will be actually my keynote. Okay. That I was gonna talk about is, accreditation doesn't mean losing your autonomy. Accreditation just gives you like overall perspective, common ground. But everybody can go, different ways, but outcome needs to be blessing. Outcome needs to be the same, because that's what measures us, who we are. The way we are going there is different. Okay. And outcome is what we created for our own mission. Any questions?
Thank you. Fine.
I'm Avais, assistant professor in computer science from Ahmedabad. What I see here is that we have divided our 16 weeks in 2 portions, basically in midterm and final term. Is it okay to assess what we have taught in the midterm after the midterm? Should what we have taught in the midterm not be assessed after the final term? I mean, maybe I was not, I haven't explained it correctly. But in the chart, we have 7 weeks in the midterm.
Yeah.
Probably
if you measure them on the midterm, which is
After the midterm, yes. In semester system, yes, I want to know your opinion that should the midterm, whatever we have taught in the midterm, should not be assessed after the final term as well?
Oh, no, I see what you are saying. Like in here, you can still measure the midterm too.
Yes.
And you have, in a way, it depends again how you eat the yogurt. You know, that's what we call it. And if you are satisfied with with your results for that particular class. And at the end of the 7th week for the midterm, if overall grades in the classroom is satisfying for you, 80 and plus, that means that they have learned it. You don't need to measure them again and again, okay? So maybe you can just pick and choose one of the key things to remind them for the finals. But if it's not satisfying, you may want to revisit. So that's how you do it. So if your midterm exam scores averaging 50s and 60s maybe or 40s in that region, that means that they haven't really picked up things. Another thing we didn't talk about is, let's say that you have created this many questions. Okay? And this was a multiple choice question. Like, so, you created 4 plus 7 plus 5 to 111. Okay, how many questions are there? Whatever, 30. You created these courses. And when you look at your actually final, the final papers, each question should be answered one way or another. But let's say that your 7th question was not answered correctly by majority of the students. Then there's a problem. Either they did not understand the topic, or your questioning was wrong for them to create the understanding. So you have to look at individuals. You have to create like a little chart and take a look at how many of the questions are correctly answered and how many of them are not. I have seen one that we do this as a committee. We looked at general statistical data, and I have seen it once where the instructor had 2 questions and he had more than 2 questions, but he had 10 questions, let's say. But 2 of the questions were not answered by any of the students. Okay, that's a problem. Either that instructor didn't cover that topic, or that question was wrong for them to understand, because they didn't understand the question. So we need to figure out those questions, and then if that's one of the topics on the week 3, and you have not answered, then put that in the final exam. Pre-measure it correctly this, okay? If it is because the students did not learn that topic, cover it on the 8 weeks or the 9 week, because you haven't covered it. So you have to just kind of go back and forth to check. So you have to judge if you want to include all the topics or part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, when we come back, we're gonna do this by ourselves, then we do the alignments. Okay, then are we coming back?
So what we are going to do right now is, no, thank you. Okay, what we are going to do right now is take a look at those pages briefly. You can see that that's aligned with what we have done on the first half, right? Oh, that's me. Okay, so what I want you to do is to take a look at first the mission statements and then see the alignment. You know, where are the alignments? Where are the differences? And what you recommend. If you can remember, we have done like a little chart of saying those are the ones that's matched. We don't need this. Okay. So we don't need any PowerPoints at this moment. So what we need to do is at the bottom, there's a little space. You can write it there if you want, or in a separate page. And what are the common points and what are the separations of the three mission statements? Let's start with that one.
Since we can.
If you want, you can use those highlighters, different colors to identify within the text too. That might be something that will help you to see through. Color like the same, similar ones with the same color. I also projected here if you want to see it on here, you should see it here.
Yes, तो वेब व्यू में डाल दो तो और बढ़ो।
So we can see this.
वेब व्यू करना इसको ना नीचे से जो ऑप्शंस होते हैं और इसको जूम करें, इतना जूम करेंगे फिट हो जाएगा, थोड़ा सा जूम आउट करें ये फिट हो जाएगा, तो ये फिट होगा और रिबन गाइड करते हो ऊपर से। जब होम पे डबल क्लिक करेंगे ना वो रिबन चला जाएगा। होम जो है ना होम पे डबल क्लिक करें, इस पर डबल क्लिक करें रिबन चला गया, थोड़ा सा और जूम करें तो ये खुद ही एडजस्ट कर लेता है।
Are you able to identify? We need like 3 of them. You need to come down a little bit. There's another sentence of it. There you go.
यूनिवर्सिटी में सब
knowledge production. Knowledge production
को कंपेयर नहीं डिवीजन नहीं हम डिस्कस करेंगे।
Like one side something. How about 3 more minutes for discussions, 3 more minutes, then we're done.
Because we cannot find the word space.
Not mentioned. It depends how you want to do it. All right, so let's take a look at what we have done so far. Okay. So what do you think these 3 statements, the mission statements from university, faculty, and department? how similar they are. Are they aligned with each other? There are some alignments. It's a little better than the previous example, right? This is a little better. It's not perfect, but it's a little better. So what are the things that's aligned that you have seen? Like everybody should say one.
The first one is knowledge production and so it said produces knowledge and technology in the field of education research.
So all three of them are saying.
Yes. Faculty mission says the same, okay? Professional knowledge.
Hold on. We say one, each table says one. Okay, and then what did you find as common?
And how the knowledge of education, research and entrepreneurship, university vision is talking about the three things. But I think research and entrepreneurship better is missing in faculty vision and department vision.
It's not there, you say.
I think that is missing.
Okay, all right. So you think it's there, you think it's not there. What is uncommon on three of them?
Social responsibility.
Is common on three of them. Okay, good. So we will discuss later. All right, so what did you find common?
Social responsibility.
That's the only one you have found? Is there anything else? Okay, because they said social responsibility here, so if collaboration is all three of them, okay? And here?
We want knowledge and technology in the field of education.
Okay, that's the first group that said. Okay, so you are agreed with that one. And what did you find in common, all three of them?
Knowledge, and
And quality, all three of them had the word quality, is that right? Okay. And what did you find? Did you find anything different?
Yes, entrepreneurship does not exist in the faculty mission and department mission.
Okay,
It is present in the university mission.
University of Mission. Okay, what is common on all three of them besides what they have said? If you have something else to add.
Knowledge in technology, quality education, in quality oriented approach.
Okay, so it seems like we have found only like the two things, like the knowledge, quality, there's not much. So what is the major difference between all three of the mission statements now? What did you find the difference? And university is, this, but department is that, and then that is what the faculty is. Mhm. Entrepreneurship is one that's being ignored. Digitalization is ignored in which one?
Faculty and department.
And department. Mhm. Social responsibility is also missing, There's a lot of word in the faculty mission, but it doesn't seem like it's covering anything, right?
Collaboration is not there in the university mission, but it's there in faculty.
And faculty and the department is the collaboration. And how can you have a collaboration if your university is not involved in that, right? You can't, how are you going to make that collaboration if your institution is not supporting it? So when you are putting your own mission, you have to be realistic because collaboration means some support from the administration. And your administration mission says, I don't want collaboration, right? I'm not involved in that. So how are you going to make that? So that's a very important part. Let's go back to the second page now. And looking at this university mission, faculty mission, and department mission, what are some of the faculty's fundamental goals and values that we identified? Are they supporting the faculty mission and also helping university's mission? They set up some fundamental goals and values for the faculty. And it seems like there is like 11 of them or something like that, right? How many? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Is there any more in the bottom? Is there only 9 of them in your pages? Is there anything at the bottom? More? Yeah, okay. So there is about 10 of them.
Also smoke.
Yeah. So are all those 10 was covered in the faculty mission, which is also ties to the university mission, right? See if each one of these are somehow included into the mission statement or mission statement. Let's put it this way. Mission statement supports all these 10 points. Let's take a look at that. Which ones are specifically covered? Which ones are not covered? You can check mark like, oh, this is covered by this sentence, this word, and then you can X the one that's not being covered at all.
Regional and global standards were kind of, sorry, no, that was collaboration, not really standards, but maybe we can say it's still right.
It is not.
Yeah, I mean, discuss among yourselves and check mark next to the page so we can discuss as a group. Thank you.
Also, there are within the paper from additional point. So you want
All right, so did you look at all these 10 points? Okay. I have a question for you. The title for this part in the strategic plan is fundamental goals and values, right? Do you see any of these statements points a value? Do you see anything that states the value? No? Like what is the education, how we value this? What are the students should bring to the community kind of thing? Values are those. Anything there that supports the university's values? Like, to build, something, or, the environmental or whatever, or maybe, good ethical, or not even putting that way, but, good educated, individuals, well communicated, well presented individuals, none of those, right? And then it says our goals. Take a look at these. Are they really goals? Or it's like a wish list? Right? It is a wish list. When you look at it, immediately I was expecting you to say something like, these are not values, these are not goals, because these are like wish lists. Look at this. To actively participate in student and faculty exchange process, initiating within the framework with education. This can't be really a goal, okay? That's a wish. You can have a goal to accomplish this, okay? You can wish for this, but how are you going to accomplish is what your goal should be here. You should be explaining this. Or develop and expand our academic staff in line with current educational standards. It's a wish list. I want more instructors. Yes, I do. But how? What am I going to do to get this? What is my goal to do this? Okay. When you look at it, they created a wish list of things that they want to have. But that's not really a goal. Goal should be more aligned with your mission and vision statement. Okay. You can create this, but that can be part of, these are the things that I want to have in order to reach this goal. Okay. So, and there is no values whatsoever. Let's go to the department now and take a look at the department and see what department says. Can you go down a little bit? So here is take a look at, okay, Shulhar, okay. Take a look at the goals and objectives of this time I picked the political science and public administration department, okay? So take a look at those and see if they're aligned with the faculty and the mission statements to their own faculty and the university at the same time. What do you see in there? Number one, this one actually for the department, they didn't say, the goals and the values. They said objectives. So they changed the word. So it's even that part is not aligned, right? Mhm.
Probably in the next 6 months, we should be able to do it.
Or some of them are longer even. Yeah. And while you are looking at the goals and objectives, look at the educational objectives, right? Your educational objectives also should support your objectives of the whole department, So each educational line should support overall what that department is actually going to do for the students. Are they really matching? So which ones do you think that we can actually say this is actually a goal and this is actually an objective here, for the department? What are the words that we can say this can be actually a goal? Or this can be a goal if it is worded this way. So you can fix the wording to make it actually a goal, then a wish list. So how can we fix some of these to make it actually a goal?
There's a goal.
Hmm?
Curriculum update the curriculum according to current conditions to ensure a qualified education. I think it is a goal.
Update the curriculum according to current conditions to ensure a qualified and contemporary education. That's a goal. Agree? If not agree, how can we make this as a goal? Number one, we need to tweak our curriculum constantly, like, every term, maybe every year, at the beginning of each year, we need to see what else we need to add, what we need to take out of the curriculum, what we need to change in the curriculum. So each year, hopefully before whatever your classes starts, 3 months before that, from the students, feedback, from the other stakeholders, other faculty members, from the community, we constantly hear feedbacks. And then what we do is we put them in the writing and say, okay, next time when we start teaching, let's add these courses or add these topics within those courses, kind of things. So in order to do that, yes, that can be your goal, but then which one was that? Update the curriculum according to the current conditions. Update, but when? It doesn't say, right? It's missing some of the things in there. So maybe it's something that goal is to, review our curriculum yearly in such a manner
That goals must,
in order to match the current, whatever.
So you make it.
the goals must be smart.
Yes, the goals must be smart.
Smart.
So, otherwise it becomes a wish list that you don't know how to reach. So we need smart goals. You are right. So, and then the educational objectives. And then when we come back to learning outcomes, let's go down a little bit. What do you think about this? We have 11 learning outcomes. Or 12. Is it 12? Woo, 12. Now, learning outcomes are tied to the program. Now, 12 is not much for this program. You know why? Why do you think 12 is not much for this program? Take a look at the title of the program. Can we go up a little bit? So, no, I want to go up to the name of the program. Anybody remembers the name of the program? And? Yes, so it's combined two programs actually, right? The political science and public administration. As a matter of fact, those are like two different subjects, but it's combined under one. So when you look at the program outcome, this program actually graduates people that can understand the political science or the politics and also run the offices in political way. So that means that, combining those two can create more outcomes. If it is one, then it should be only like 4 or 5 outcomes. But if it is more than one, if it is a, cross-disciplinary programs, then the outcomes can be more. So 12 is not much for this program because it's combined the two programs. For example, international trades and logistics. International trades and logistics management. That one actually has 3 programs. You have the management, you have the international trade and the logistics. So outcome will be more. So the more you actually have a cross-disciplinary programs, the more your outcomes has to be more. So that's when we decide how to come up with the outcomes. In order to cover that specific field, we need to have it. So when we come back to program learning outcomes, is that where we were? There's 11 of them. Yeah. Or 12 of them. So that number is not bad. Okay, that number is not bad. If it is like 3 program combinations, 16, 17 is normal. It's just that how we identified them and are we really covering everything that needs to be covered in those programs needs to be there. So take a look at these program learning outcomes and think about those 2 programs that's being combined right now. What do you think about these learning outcomes?
There are some which probably there can be language issues.
Mm-hmm.
But like the one towards the later half,
Mm-hmm.
5 onwards, they pretty much covers what a program in public administration and political science should do.
Mm-hmm.
For example, to cultivate creative individuals, that
Which one is that one number?
one
The first one.
seems like
Cultivate, create.
PFA like program in fine arts or something. If you read the entire one, then probably I think that they need to like revise the wordings properly.
Sure, definitely. But then I want to highlight the 3. Read the 3.
There's much similarity.
Yeah, there is so much similarity between all the, all of the outcomes. But at the same time, the 3 has nothing to do with this program. It seems like they pick and choose from somebody else's, right? So that shows us that if you create outcomes like this, at the end of my talk earlier, before the first half, do you remember that we created the syllabi and outcomes, how we created these results? You can't create it because there is nothing for you to tie to. Which one I'm going to tie my curriculum to, which item I'm going to target. They're all like intermingle with each other. So if we don't start right from the mission statement till this moment, whatever we do in our classes as an instructors is not going to be helpful. Otherwise, we will interpret it, all of these, okay, I'm going to go after what the university is trying to do, but your interpretation is different. If we are teaching the same topics, like you said before, all 3 different ways that we can go. If they are not, then we're going after different things. In my classes, I say, oh, it says industry, so I will combine NGOs and I will just talk about NGOs, not industry, because it says NGOs. Or maybe it just talks about industry, and then I will talk about how industry can create, public administration. If possible, I will just make it up, because there is no clear directions in here. Take a look at 5. Is that 5 or? To acquire a broad knowledge base in economics and administrative sciences throughout undergraduate education. What does it tell you? What does it tell you? Does it give you anything to, related to the program or the mission statement. Go back to the mission statements. I mean, take a look at the mission statement, take a look at the goals. And what is that 5 related to? Irrelevant. So why is it there? Right? But if we do these things without really thinking how they are tied to each other, we can write it down. Oh, XYZ college wrote this. It seems like it's a good one. Let's write it down. But it has nothing to do with our institution, our goals, our mission. Well, they do it, I'll do it. Copy paste. And we do that all the time. That X college is doing this and it seems like they're successful. Let us do it. Well, it's not going to match my culture. It's not going to match my students, my faculty. I cannot follow up on it. It has nothing to do with what I'm trying to create here. We do this all the time.
I think they need to be properly phrased, like the words, choice of words.
I can't hear you.
What all I've gathered up till now is that, for my understanding, I'm asking that basically we should choose the choice of words should be correct so that anybody who's reading it is able to interpret, or A, B, C, D if different teachers are teaching. So everyone should be able to interpret in the same way. So I think the choice of words which we are choosing, and above all, the person who's designing all this should be very clear in his or her head that what he or she wants. Until and unless the person is not clear, I think he or she won't be able to write or do it.
Actually, earlier, a friend asked me a very good question. You were asking this question. Do you want to repeat that question and then we can discuss?
Okay. I was saying that we started in the first part saying mission statement of the university. Then we looked at the mission statement of the faculty, and then we looked at department. What we were finding that they were not alignment of all of them together. So I was thinking that that's actually the story here in Pakistan, that generally the university mission statement standing at one place, faculty is on other place, and department is on the other stage. So there is something to do again, I mean, to rethink about these things. And as we were discussing that, a strategic, where to start from.
First part.
Yes. From the university, you say that we should start from the university, and strategic plan is the one platform from where we can start it.
Exactly. So we need to start from there. So the vocabulary builds upon what the mission statement of the university is. And then once it is done, and this is how the process works. You go through every 5 years, you go through the strategic plan to rewrite the strategic plan, right? However, every year you look at your strategic plan and your objectives and which ones you have reached and what percentage you have reached. If you haven't reached, you go back to that item in your strategic plan to see why I haven't reached it. Was I overestimating what I'm supposed to do, or maybe underestimating? Sometimes some of those goals, let's say that people think like, oh, I said that I will do, I don't know, I'm giving you an example right now, like I will do 100 student activities this year. And at the end of the year, you have done 360. People think that, oh, that's great. We have done more than that. That's not good. In strategic planning, it is not good. That means you don't know where you are standing. You don't estimate yourself. You underestimate yourself. You should be close in the same ballpark. Okay. You can't be doing more and it's not good. So you need to estimate this. So each year you have to take a look at it. Maybe you will just say, oh, I underestimated myself. Let me tweak this. For the next year, that means I could do the X. Okay. Why that jump? You need to measure why I estimated 100 and then it became 360. Was there something different happening this year? Will I be able to continue in this progress? And then at the end of the 5th year, you revise the entire strategic plan to, change some of the things to put you into the next level up. Because our goal is the constant improvement. Nobody wants to be in the same place. Okay. We want to improve ourselves, not big jumps. Sometimes big jumps can create problems, but we need to do it. So the vocabulary becomes from there. Your strategic plan, your mission, statements will actually come down to this level. But if you don't pay attention to where we started and then do all of these silo-wise and without controlling it, it won't happen. So one of the things we discussed with my friend is, how do we do this? So you actually come up with a leader who will lead the strategic planning and the mission and all that, okay? But that person is not going to do it all by himself or herself. You need to have a committee behind it, which will cover all the stakeholders. There will be some students, there will be some community, there will be some faculty members, some administrators, especially the student enrollment or the student body. You have to have these actually workers as well there, administrative workers, and they will work together. They will work together. However, the work means that they will take a look at the old mission statement and revise it. How are they going to revise it? They create a short survey, send it to all the stakeholders, get their feedback on it. Okay. What do you think about the mission statement? What words you could change? Which ones are achievable? Which ones are not achievable? What else you can add to our mission? How do you see this institution? Create like 10, 15 maximum questions, send it to the stakeholders, take their information and sit down as a committee, and then revise this mission statement. Are we done? Revised it? Are we done with it? No. We're going to send it back as we write it, send it back to those and get their feedback again. After your feedback to us, we revised it according to your wishes. Now take a look at it. Is this good enough? If not, they will feedback. Then you will revise again and then send it back. Once that's done, everybody says, yes, this is the way we want it, and you finalize it. Okay, without going back to them and have their approvals or feedbacks, it is not complete. You have to have the loop until everybody says that's okay. If they don't say okay to it, then they won't take it in. They will not apply it in their classrooms. Once the university is done, then you will send the same thing to the faculty, say, this is our university's mission. Now you tweak yours accordingly. And they do the same loop within their group, and then they will give the feedback to you. You will take that, each faculties and send it to the stakeholders again and say, this is how we align faculty and the university's mission. So it's back and forth, back and forth. Once it is done, then everybody is on the same page. But if somebody says, this is our strategic plan, this is our mission, here is it's in the website, take a look at it, nobody's going to take it seriously, especially if we're going to put it in our classrooms. So what else we have? Program specific criteria, anything else? Okay. Now, if you look at the curriculum, okay, pick one. Like we said, something common in mission statements is the technological collaboration or something like that we said originally. Pick one of the common, all three mission statements has, and then how it's supported with the learning outcomes of the faculty and the department, and pick that topic only, just one, and then find the courses that helps to support that mission statement or mission, whatever the line. So pick one that's common all three of them and then combine it.
Basic.
And which courses are supporting, take a look and highlight those. And then you will actually, after you highlight those courses, pick one and create like a little bit of syllabus to it. What needs to cover in that, not the syllabus, but course description, write a course description. How are we doing? Okay. All right, we got like 10 minutes. We'll extend a little bit, okay? It's almost 5 o'clock, but let's do this and then we'll finish it up because this will end. So you pick one from the mission statements, which course is supported, pick one course and write a course description
The University Mission,
from these courses. University, faculty, and department.
मेरा पहले से प्रोडक्शन नेक्स्ट भी होगा इसका इसमें इसमें भी Anybody identify the course yet? Okay, we got first winner here. Anybody else? Identify the course? Yeah, match one course at least, match them. Okay, with which what statement? You got to take a look at the mission statements. Each three of them should have it in combine. Like each one of them should say it.
Yes, yes.
And then you write a course description according to what is being addressed here for that course.
Basic knowledge of law.
Okay,
It covers missions
in 3 ways. And then write a description of that course. Okay, perfect. How it's gonna be covered, and then we'll talk about it. And then once you write that, how it ties to there, then you can create the syllabus, and then you can actually create how you are gonna measure what is the outcome of that course. So you write like an outcome, learning outcome per course, ties to the PLOs.
What about entrepreneurship goals?
Okay, is it on the mission statement?
Covered with this one.
No, then we can't do that. We have to, because that's missing. Because, yeah, it's the department's curriculum. So it has to fit in all three of them. Mhm.
Then solving this knowledge and skills.
It's common,
Yeah.
not even a single one. I see this, something is missing video.
Mhm.
For example, this has these
They all
four.
are saying about the knowledge production, but every course provides the knowledge.
Then create one for one of them, knowledge creation.
Knowledge creation, if we talk about the public administration, then it should be the subject specific course.
Sure. More like a theoretical courses. Yeah, so it's in the first two semester is where the theoretical courses should be covered. So pick one of those. Mhm.
One question. Theoretical course. Political course.
Did you pick one?
Which one?
Knowledge. Well, that means one of the theoretical courses that you have to pick and write the description.
We have two departments, but two.
Which provide, we give the political science, if it's the department of the political.
Is there one that covers both of them?
Suppose,
Yeah, you see, that's another problem. That means the curriculum is not even matching anything.
Political science and
Mhm.
administration.
Public administration. Is there anything?
But
Something like related to?
it should be in the first semester, but in the second semester, it's going to cover.
It can be. It can be. I mean, these programs are all over the place. Or maybe is there like a introduction to law or something like that? That might actually, yeah, that might cover both of them. It gives them theoretical background. It supports both of them. So you may want to write it down as the course description to fit that goal. Now you have to write it down that way.
You can move the program from one semester to another.
Mhm. Yes.
Both of them the same semester.
If this school does this exercise, they should change everything and restart again, even the curriculum. But rarely we go and look at it.
Yeah.
All right, who wrote course description? Complete course description. Did you write the course description? Hurry up, we gotta leave. They're gonna come and pick me up from here quickly. So write the course description for that course that you identified that matches that statement. What that course needs to cover, how you write it down in order to match that goal. I think you wrote it, right? All right, well, let's start with you. What mission statement is common in all three of them? And which course is going to support it? And what's the course description? Here we go.
Basic concepts of law. This course actually provide the basic knowledge of law of the country. It covers the knowledge in the field of the political science. This knowledge and technology in the field of education covers university mission, faculty missions, and departmental missions also.
Okay, so which one did you write the course description?
This course actually provide the basic knowledge of the country, and it covers the knowledge in the field of political science.
Okay, we need to do a little bit more explanation how it is gonna cover for the
course description, because that course description is very important for us to create the outcomes, learning outcomes for that course.
Yes.
If it's too generic, we cannot create more outcomes per week like we have done before. So the description of that course is very important.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe you can expand on that a little bit.
A little bit.
Asking the others.
I tried.
Okay. Anybody else wants to try? Do you want to give it a try?
Yes, we can here speak please speak loud because I can't hear.
Ma'am, we have select basic computer skills
Yes, to support what?
to support knowledge and technology,
Okay,
research, social responsibility.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you write a course description for that course?
No.
No, okay.
You can write it down now. The more explanatory it will be better for the learning outcomes per that course. Anybody else wants to give it a try? I'll just hand it to you. You don't need to rewrite it.
Just read it from there, that's fine. Yeah. So,
Okay, so
yeah,
so the course which we have selected is public personnel management.
okay,
So and we are covering the the point of personal knowledge and skills.
okay.
Okay.
And this-
And we find it common in all three missions.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's the only one that we were able to identify, right?
okay, and then I think that the course description, this description should be, this course should cover the principles and practices of human resource management, because its name is public personnel management, and it should include recruitment, the performance of the employee, some labor laws, and some ethical values. So to cover the title of public personnel management,
Perfect.
I think this should be the course description.
That way, you can see that he identified some key areas, like, recruitment and, what else did you say? Recruitment and
The performance of
the performance,
Yeah.
this and that. So for the first course or first 2 weeks, maybe he will talk about recruitment. So you can easily identify what are the learning outcomes for that particular, specific topic. So that's very good. Thank you. Anybody else wants to share before we leave? So I hope I was clear where we are going with this. I'm here for 3 more days, so you will see me around. If you have any questions, after you reviewing what we have discussed today, you can catch me and then we can sit down and talk a little bit more if you have specific questions. Thank you for coming and listening to me. It's a long time. I know it's tiresome. We cover a lot of topics, but this was very fun for me. I appreciate it.
Take a group picture and you with the love.
Okay, great. I can leave my USB here, right? I put it here.
Okay.
It's not there. Yeah.
Okay, got it.